Okay, well, today we're absolutely delighted to be doing our debut interview for Punk Globe
Yes.
with Danny Garcia.
Yeah. Hello, Danny.
Uh,
How are you?
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great to meet you.
So
Likewise.
by way of introduction, you've just made, I mean, I thought you'd done, quite a lot of rock and roll and punk films, but you've done lots of others. It's like, how many you done? 19, 20?
No, not so many. Probably like 12,
All
13.
right,
But
right. That's still
because
pretty good.
my associate lives down in the south of Spain in Almeria, where Sergio Leone and Corbucci and all those great
Yeah.
Italian directors of the 60s and 70s, they filmed, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for a few dollars more,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
bloody, bloody, blah. And once I saw those sets that are still standing, I flipped out and I, dude, we have to fucking shoot movies here, man. And somehow I convinced them, and we did some crazy spaghetti western type movies. We we enjoy it. I mean, everything I do is because I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
well,
always I always tell my friends that if I wanted money, I should be making documentaries on Britney Spears or something. But that's
Yeah,
not it.
yeah, yeah.
true.
Well, I was going to say, if I want money, I should be playing bass for Britney Spears, but
Yeah, well, if I wanted money, I would have signed those big label
that's right.
record deals,
Right.
or you don't get money. I don't know, it's
Well, that's our
confusing.
credentials. So here we are. So
Yeah.
a strange twist of fate. You're doing a new film called Viva la Punk. That working,
Yep.
yeah. And the Ruts are in it. And so
Yep.
I've met you before, but was sort of meeting doing that.
Yep.
And you've interviewed me yourself.
Yep.
So here we are interviewing you.
I know, life is crazy, bro.
Yeah, life
But
is crazy.
your interview is great. You're very, you're a great talker, man. I love that segment of the documentary because
Oh,
I
good.
mean
How'd it go?
we've already edited like an hour and 15 minutes,
Yeah, yeah,
and in 2 weeks I'm shooting Sham 69, which is the last segment I have
yeah,
to do. We have Ruts DC, The Boys 999, and Sham 69, and it's in between this segment.
yeah. How is Jimmy? Jimmy all right? Was he all right? Was he there?
Well, no, we haven't done Sham yet, but
Ah, right. Okay, cool.
we interviewed Charlie man, the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
day in Brighton. He came down to the 999 gig, and we
yeah,
did
yeah,
this impromptu interview. We have John Cooper Clarke, Rodent, Joe Corey, bunch of people, man, and it's really amazing. We touch on all these aspects of punk rock, and about everything. Like in every segment, there's different people talking about different things about punk, and it's really, really amazing. And some people think one thing, the other one think a different thing, but that's
that's
the
true.
debate.
Yeah,
That's the debate, and that's what it's interesting about it.
yeah,
I mean, for me, like in every movie I make, the most interesting thing for me personally is to meet all these characters.
yeah,
You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like when I did the Looking for Johnny, the Johnny Thunders thing,
yeah, yeah,
I met all these people. I grew up reading in cold blood Nina Antonio's book on Johnny,
yeah,
and the majority of the photos were by Bob Gruen and Marcia Resnick, and I met them, interviewed them, hung out with them, and for me it's like, whoa, dude,
yeah,
if I would have told my 14-year-old self one day you're gonna do all these movies, I would have said, shut the fuck up,
yeah.
are you nuts?
I'm
I
like
never
that.
studied.
I
I never
met Bob
studied
Gruen. I
cinema.
met Bob Gruen. I went to his, exhibition in London, and wow, it's like, oh, that's kind of strange. It is strange how you jump into these things and then you end up doing what you never thought you'd ever do.
And the majority of these people are really nice people.
Yeah,
These crazy rock and roll people are really nice people, man. Like down to earth. Like even Richard Hell, who always said no to be interviewed. And last time I said, look, Richard, man, I'm doing this documentary on Max's Kansas City and CBGB's during the COVID.
yeah, I've seen that.
And
I've seen that.
I said to him, I have Sylvain talking amazing shit about you, dude. You know how you started this whole look, and Malcolm fell in love, and blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah. And I said, I know, Richard, you're gonna say no because you hate to be interviewed, and I get it because I don't like to be interviewed.
But
right
you're
now
doing
I'm cool.
good.
Right
You're
now I'm
very
cool
good.
because I like you, Sex, and your better health. I just met her, and she appears to be really nice. So I have no problem talking to
Haven't
you
started on you
Ah, yeah.
yet.
because we're talking. I'm talking to you like I mean I talk to everybody like I'm talking to you like I talk to a friend, But
Yeah.
I feel comfy talking to you, but it's not always like that. But anyway, I said to Richard, I know you're gonna say no, but I just had to ask, and he sent me this lengthy email, dude, like saying he admires my perseverance and whatnot, and I was like, dude, man, I'm nobody, in the film industry, and I always say that, like I don't consider myself anything. And I said, dude, I'm from Barcelona. I never thought I would fucking meet Lee Childers and Richard Hell and Sylvain and James
Yeah.
Williamson, and actually them telling me, dude, thank you for making this film, and I'm like, wow, man! Like James Williamson outside the San Francisco premiere of Looking for Johnny comes up to me, shakes my hand. Oh, thanks for making a movie about my friend. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you're James Williamson. Without you, I wouldn't be fucking here doing this shit. That's why
Yeah.
I'm taking to the grave. That's why I'm taking to the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Okay. So
it's
you
the
grew up.
personal.
So you grew up liking punk, and then you
Mhm.
started making films about it as a result.
Well,
Is that right?
well, yeah. I mean, I had older brothers, and the mid two older brothers, and the middle one, Sergi, was a really hip dude. Like the way he dressed, and he was always listening to the latest and stuff. I gotta tell you, when I was 5 years old, they were listening to fucking Yes and Pink Floyd and Supertramp and
Yeah.
fucking Frank Zappa, and they did my fucking head in, man. I fucking hated it. I couldn't hang out with them when they were listening
You're a
to all that
million
shit.
dollar.
But then 79, 80, my brother starts bringing the Clash and the Pistols and Blondie and Ramones, and I was like, whoa, dude, that's my shit, man. And I was like 9 years old singing Spanish bombs on my bicycle.
Yeah, I think one of
That's
the first films I saw, I didn't even know of that it was you, but it was The Rise and Fall of the Clash. You know,
yeah.
got the DVD somewhere. Haven't we?
Yeah,
But I mean,
we
I
do
didn't
have that.
put to, and you don't, I don't, I'm not a film buff where you look and see who's done it. You know what I mean? And then here we are. Came to London.
That
Really,
was that was my first professional documentary. I had done some work for local Barcelona TV before, and I fell in love with, once the digital revolution happened and little cameras, you could go around with a little
yeah,
camera and
yeah,
shoot. And I was like, wow, I love this. You know what I mean? And that's how I fell in love with it. But it took me years to actually come up with a feasible idea and
Mm.
convince somebody with money,
yeah.
support me in that crazy endeavor. And here I am 15 years later, basically.
Wicked. And with the new film rockumentary you're making,
Mm.
Viva La Punk, that's
Yeah.
more that's more the UK based. That's the more the UK
Yeah.
side of.
Yes. Yeah. Because with night clubbing, I touched on the birth of punk rock in New York City.
Yeah.
And, I've, my favorite band when I was the Clash and the Pistols. And before that, when I was 6, I discovered the Rolling Stones, and I flipped
Yeah,
out.
so hence the
And
Brian Jones.
yeah, yeah, that's where it comes from. I was
Yeah,
six,
yeah. I was
six
going to
years
ask
old,
you.
and it's all thanks to my brothers, man. But I went up to my father and I said, "Hey, father, can you get me a record by the Rolling Stones?" He said, "Yeah, sure, dude." And next day he brought me Aftermath.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's my initiation into rock and roll, and that's the fourth album of the Stones, and the first one where Brian starts playing all these wicked instruments
yeah, yeah.
in
Cool.
Lady Jane, in Under My Thumb, all that stuff, And I was always like really curious and sort of fascinated by Brian with the helmet haircut and like
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what
who the
style?
fuck is this mysterious dude?
And
There's always this around him. And actually, that documentary was a fucking trip, man. To
yeah,
meet, to meet, like I interviewed a couple of Brian's friends from Cheltenham from before he went to London to form the Rolling Stones.
yeah.
You know
Mm.
what I mean? And I'm having lunch with one of them, and he goes, "Fucking Brian still owes me $20 from the train trip to go to London before the Stones." And I took
Yeah.
out $20 out of my pocket, 20 pounds, and I gave it to him. I said, "That's from Brian," and he was like,
Yeah. I bet he
But
tries that a
and
lot.
actually, Me 40 quid, so I was wondering if you could pay me that.
Yeah, and that was one of the most beautiful things I've done in my life, you know.
Ah, nice.
Okay. So out of everything that you've made so far, do you have a favorite?
Uh, I mean, I think, but that's, I mean, because you know, I love the
Hard
Steve
question, I know.
documentary. I love night clubbing.
Pretty
I
good, man.
don't watch them once I'm done with them. I mean, maybe 10
Yeah.
years later, I rewatch them again and go, oh, the thing is, you know, it's like, you know, you make music, so you're in love with it, and you have to love it for yourself first,
Yeah.
right? So what I do is I make a documentary, I edit it, I sit down when it's finished, and I watch fan. And if the fans say I'm cool with it. See what I mean? Because I've grown up listening to all this stuff.
Yeah.
So originally I'm like this 9-year-old kid listening to the Pistols and the Clash, and that kid has got to dig it. Otherwise, you know what I mean? It's not. I don't know money, man. You're artist
Yeah.
yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Totally.
Totally.
And so it's the same thing again. You know, I should do documentaries on Britney Spears if I want to get dough. You know,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's not in me.
It'd
It's not
probably
in
be
me.
quite interesting if you did do one on her.
Yeah, because
It's just.
your
But
perspective is
just
very.
think about the process. You have to get in touch with all these dodgy people.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. You know, what I mean? I do
But
a
what's
documentary.
great is that you're keeping the spirit of punk alive by making the documentaries and introducing it to a younger generation, just like your brothers did with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's very flattering, and I love it. I mean, because I never thought this knowledge I had about Johnny Thunders and Steve Baders and so on and so forth would amount to anything.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And suddenly, I remember talking to my brother before he passed, and I was like, "Dude, it's so nuts that I'm
Mm.
paying my bills, and you know, I got a check from Japan, and I bought this. You know, I only buy second-hand cars. You know, I have like a 2001 Beetle that
Yeah.
cost me 2,000 euros, and that was with Steve money. And I was like, "Oh, Steve bought me a fucking car. How cool is that?" And I
When-
told Richard Hell that. I said, "Richard,
Yeah.
man, I'm the first one
Yeah.
who's
I think
amazed
that's what your
and
perspective.
surprised that I can pay bills with money that come from Steve Bader's documentary. You know
Yeah.
how fucking amazing that is, man? It's like I cannot believe it. You know what I mean?
Danny, let's ask Tara why she's got Steve Bater's tattooed on her arm.
Oh yeah, I've not seen
Yeah.
the
It's
tattoo.
actually on this arm. You can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time
Yeah.
I see
You were
you.
saying earlier about how you met him and but you
Well,
Yeah, I was 17, 1988, right? And Lord's Unity Church come to Barcelona to play, and I was like, whoa! I had all the records, and I was like, I just love Steve, you know. Like
yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the Dead Boys. I like the Lords, but I don't like every fucking song, and you know. But I like Steve, man. My brother used to tape everything on Betamax back in the
yeah,
80s, in
yeah.
the early 80s. And then I would sit down as a little kid and watch whatever the fuck my brother would tape. And, you know, we had a really cool program back in the day in Spain called the Golden Age, La Edad de Oro. And, you know, Johnny Thunders played, there were live gigs, and Lords of the New Church and Killing Joke and blah, 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 you know, all these amazing bands. And I had the Lord's gig taped, and I watched it thousands of times. And I remember as a kid looking at Steve and thinking, whoa, this dude is bizarre, is
Yeah.
interesting. And I liked Steve, you know, and I saw them live, and I was first row with all my records there, my ass off. And Steve is doing the craziest show probably that I've ever seen a frontman do. And
Yeah.
he's hanging himself with the fucking mic cord.
Yeah.
He's putting his dick behind his leg. I mean, you know, yeah, behind his legs. You know, like you know the typical
Amazing.
vagina-like picture. He putting his head inside fucking bass drum, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this guy's insane. So after the gig, I go upstairs to the, and I'm, you know, crapping myself literally, holding my records and thinking, oh my God, this is gonna be insane. And the door opens and Steve sees me and goes, yo, come in, man. And I couldn't really speak English back then, and I was just like so fucking like really scared. And he was the nicest. He was the sweetest, man. He signed my records. He posted. I got pictures with him, with the band,
Mm.
except Brian James, who wouldn't get up and take a picture with a 17-year-old fan. And Steve, I remember telling him, "Come on, Brian, that." He didn't do it, but
Well, I think Brian had been through the Damned and everything. He probably had enough by
Yeah.
then.
that's fine.
When
That's
I met
fine.
Brian, he was very, very nice, actually. So.
Yeah. I know. When he died, everybody was racist and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool," but unfortunately, I didn't get that vibe from him that day. But everybody's got a bad day. But the gig was so fucking good. It's probably one of the best 3 fucking shows I've ever seen in my life.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean?
In the UK
Yeah.
or America?
That was in Barcelona.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I made the documentary, I told I used to talk to Jimmy Zero quite a bit on the phone, during those days, like gathering information and what. And Jimmy Zero is really really nice guy. And I told Jimmy, I said, I'm making this because Steve was really nice to me. If he would have been a fucking asshole, I wouldn't do this documentary. You know that, right? And he was like, yeah, I'm sure. And he told me that it was always the same thing with the Dead Boys. Like fans would go backstage thinking, oh my God, he's going to spit on my face and shit. And he was the total opposite. He was the nicest, Steve was.
Aw. Well,
So that was amazing, by the way. We did Steve with fuck all money. Like we had literally like maybe 7,000 euros to do that documentary, which is the
wow.
lowest I've ever spent on a documentary. It's nothing, right? But all of Steve's friends gave us photography, footage, music rights, master rights, everything for free. So we could complete the fucking movie. And I was like, whoa, man, that's love. And actually, Jimmy Zero told me, I can tell you've done this documentary with a lot of love. And I said, yeah, man, I love Steve, man.
Yeah, and it's also like a forgotten history that's being put back together so people don't forget. Um,
Yeah,
and
the
I
only
was,
thing that bugs me is that nobody came forward and told me the truth about his death. Because the accident, that's bullshit. He died of an overdose.
okay.
And that's the only thing that pisses me off about that documentary because I like the way it's done, the aerial shots, like Jimmy said, I did that with a lot of love, but nobody came forward with that
He
info. And
did
and you
get
know
hit
what's
by a bus though, didn't he? He did
no,
get
that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
really?
Caroline, yeah, that's bollocks. Caroline came up with that story, and that sort of, through the ages, it's been retold and resold. And one day it was a taxi, another day it was a truck. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, when people
So,
make shit up, they
Rock and
forget
roll myth.
so he didn't die of concussion.
but no, he died of an overdose because Caroline was
Bless him.
a user, and and Steve would and take he loved speed really, but if there was a bit of this, a bit of that, he would take it. And I guess he took a little bit too much. And you know what's fucking hilarious? Not hilarious. It's just funny. Like his father and his mother show up in Paris for the burial, and the father says, "Oh, this is so unfortunate that my son didn't die like a rock star of an overdose or something like that."
Yeah,
Can you fucking believe it?
yeah.
It's
That's
insane. I
crazy.
mean,
Rock stars that actually care what their mum thinks. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Oh
but
yeah.
what a fucked
About
up thing
mummy
to
issues.
say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His father said that, man. I mean, apparently his father was a joker, like that's where Steve got his pranks and his, hilarious humor from.
Yeah. So I mean, when I was into Dead Boys, they weren't very famous. Nobody really knew of them. They didn't have much on YouTube and that. Um,
Right,
it was during when the digital thing was happening.
right.
And when I came across his music and everything, the reason why I've got a tattoo is literally I was doing my band, doing my thing, but I was feeling quite suicidal. And
Wow,
it was a very dark moment in my life. And
wow.
put Ain't It Fun on, and his voice just touched me here, and just started crying, and I
That's
didn't kill
amazing.
myself. And because of
Sex told me a bit about it, but he didn't go in depth,
yeah,
like about
no,
why. But I'm really really happy that
Feel the pain in
Steve.
his voice, you know, his voice, it had
Yeah,
something.
well, that's what I liked about him when watching on TV and going like, "Whoa, this guy's fucking something." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you might like the Lords or not, whatever. He was something. He had something
Yeah.
about him.
definitely. I didn't like
You
it when they
know?
tried to get rid of him, but I suppose
What,
they
the
were in
recent
a
one?
No, he quit the band on
hard
stage.
place. Huh?
He quit. He quit the band on stage. He
Yes,
quit the Lords on stage. He found out that they had been doing these auditions.
behind his back, that's
It
right.
was a bit of a misunderstanding, like Steve said, "Oh yeah, well I can't do these shows, and my back hurts and whatever." And then Brian heard through the grapevine that he was hanging out at a show in Paris, and it's like, what? Maybe jokingly, Steve Tragana told me, maybe jokingly, Steve said, "Well, yeah, why don't you get somebody else to do these shows?" And then Brian took it seriously, and then they auditioned a few fucking. I actually met some Canadian dude that went to the audition. Obviously,
Oh,
didn't get
no
it.
way.
Yeah, yeah. And then he found out, and then he went to that show at the Astoria, got that T-shirt saying, name band, looking for a single, whatever. And
Yeah,
he
yeah.
quit. And he quit on stage, and that's the most fucking Steve thing ever, man. I thought, oh my God, this guy's a genius.
Oh, it's so,
That's a wicked sense of humor again. Like fuck
yeah.
you guys. You thought I didn't find out. I found out, and here's the T-shirt.
And
You
what's
know.
what's been your thing? Because I got more into the New York punk before I got into the
No,
British.
I
What?
tell you, I was 9 years old. My brother brings the Clash, the Pistols, then Blondie. Then I discovered the Ramones and the Boys and 999 and all. I really got into it. I mean, as a teenager, from nine onwards. And I was, yeah. I mean, I like the Ramones and Blondie, but I was not like a Talking Heads fan, or I didn't know anything about New York. Yeah, I was a little kid. I mean, I couldn't read English. I didn't know English. So the information I got was from people telling me stories. Iggy Pop. Yeah, my brother was into Iggy, so I got into that. But down the line, when I'm 14, I start wearing a leather jacket and DMs and going out every day to the secondhand record shops. Like my mom would give me like a fucking coin, to get something for, in the afternoon, like a croissant or something. And I would start saving these coins, and then I would go to the
Yeah,
record store. I would buy, John Jett one day, and another day was the Boys, secondhand records, and that's how I got my education basically.
yeah, cool. So when's Viva La Punk coming out?
Next year, I mean, it's got to be out by the summer. I mean, we're celebrating 50 years of punk with
Yeah,
this documentary, and the explosion. It was like summer '76, really, right?
Yeah.
So that's the idea, and hopefully it's gonna work, and I can do Vive Le Punk too, because there's many many bands that I would like to interview and
yeah,
feature in a film. I wanted Chelsea to be in this documentary too, but I couldn't get them. I couldn't interview them. I didn't get a pass for Rebellion, and
I did try.
very yeah, we tried. Yeah, it's hard to get Gene October. The search for Gene October.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
The
So
hunt for Gene
You're going to go
October.
to Rebellion in the 50 years next year?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a big festival goer, and I mean, if I get invited, I'm gonna go.
Oh,
But
right.
I don't know, man.
They
It's
said,
not.
I know we're going off track here, but when I spoke to them, they said they might, you kindly offered to show some of your films, but I think it's
Yeah,
really good because they're
I
doing
think
it's a
it's a
big
good
one.
idea.
It's how long is it 25 years of their festival next year?
They're
mhm.
celebrating
Yeah,
50 years of punk as well.
25. Yeah, but they're doing 25 years
Right,
of
right.
Rebellion. So we're definitely playing, Dan. And so
That's cool,
it'd
man.
be good get in early. I'll put you up so you can show some of your films because I think
Yeah,
that'd be great. And you can get you on for Q&A and stuff. You
yeah.
know what I
I
mean?
love, I love that, man. I'm all up for it, and I love Rats DC, man. So I love to see you guys again on a big stage and kicking
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's great.
By the way, I included Bound in Blood in the documentary. I
Oh,
love that fucking song, man.
hey,
Fucking
everybody,
love it, man. Yeah.
I actually hate it.
Number one.
I actually hate
Oh, I
it.
love it.
I don't.
You
Why
know
do you hate
what?
it? It's fucking great, man. It's
Yeah.
moody. It's
Headline.
It's just
fucking.
too,
It's
it's
deep.
one of those. The more you write, the
Mm.
deeper it goes. I think. And, you know.
I'm really
Really?
amazed.
Thank you.
I'm really amazed that at 72, I think the drummer in your band,
Yeah,
Ruffy,
yeah,
he's such a genius, man.
yeah,
I mean, I mean, the guitarist too, and you too. I'm a bass player, by the way. I
yeah.
don't know if I told you, but I started when I was 14. Didi Ramon was my hero. I just
Wow,
wanted to play.
you can come and
I
play with
wanted
us.
to.
Just sing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play like Didi Ramon. That was my
Yeah,
aim in life,
yeah,
But anyway, I see you guys play. Lee's amazing on guitar, by the way.
yeah,
All of you, the three of you. But fucking Ruffy, dude, he plays like so effortlessly, man. I'm like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah. I do try. I keep saying, put a bit of effort in.
That's real skill, though, isn't it? It's real skill
Yeah,
Yeah,
making it
it
look
is. It
easy.
is. He does make it look easy.
fucking unreal, man. I fucking really enjoyed
So we're out at the
seeing
moment, and
you.
he's got this new kit. Well, it's 1974 Ludwig. He's changed the kit. He's got this big green kit. Got a huge bass drum, and it just it sounds. It's like the John Bonham end of
Wow,
really. So
wow.
really good.
Amazing, amazing.
So yeah, a bit more footage.
Are you going to be going to any more Ruts DC shows?
I want to. I would love to. I really want to because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the band. And the guys, you guys are really really nice. I mean, I love the segment of Rez in our documentary. It's like really fucking out there, man.
Right, brilliant.
It's really neat.
Cool.
Yeah. So
You can ask.
did you used to be a comedian? Did you start off being a comedian? Were you ever a
Oh,
comedian?
me,
Yeah.
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 me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
So- no, that's just.
Do I look like a comedian?
Well,
No.
when we did some research, it says you started off as a comedian and then went into films.
That's that. I think because there's so many Danny Garcias in the world. I think you got the.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People got
There's a boxer.
confused.
There's a
It's,
boxer too.
it's all under
Well,
the
no,
same
I could see,
Danny.
I could see that. I could see you being a
I
comedian.
wish I had the wit and the quick
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
humor to do that. No, man. I wish. I love humor though. I mean, I grew up watching Marx Brothers films and
yeah.
Clouseau films and all that.
Can't live without
Yeah,
humour.
but no, I'm not a comedian,
Okay,
unfortunately.
cool. So you've always
Can't
been
do, can,
obsessed with
can't do
filming?
everything in life. Can't do everything.
Oh no, no.
No.
Yeah. So, how we doing?
We're doing
Maybe
good.
how long we got to?
Yeah. Yeah. So you did an interview recently with Ginger Coyote. I mean, she's a massive legend.
Yeah, I don't think I've done an interview with her. I
Oh,
mean,
okay. I thought you were going to
I
do.
was featured in Punk Globe a few years ago, but I don't know who did that interview. I can't remember. I think maybe it was written. It was like
Yeah.
through
Yeah,
emails and
yeah,
stuff. I'm not sure. But yeah, I talk a lot to her. She's really nice, man. She's a legend. She
You
tells me
did.
all these stories about like Robert Plant giving her Quaaludes in 73 or
Yeah.
whatever. What
yeah.
the fuck? Like whatever I talk to her, whatever band I mentioned, she go, "Oh yeah, I knew this guy. I know that guy." I'm
Yeah,
like,
totally.
you just know everybody, man. That's so
And
nice.
I like the white trash debutantes. They call them.
Yeah.
So bad. Yeah.
And also, like for me, I was always a DIY band, and then like you, not in it for the money, and
Right.
do stuff for Radio Reverb. It's a community radio, so a lot of energy goes into that. But recently, going to be doing a bit more for Punk Globe because that's DIY,
Cool.
and that
Yeah,
community is important as well.
of
So
course.
yeah, and with our monthly club nights, again, it's DIY, very grassroots, connecting with people, and just feel it's really important to do all that right now. The world is
Yeah.
getting more and more like, separated.
It is.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the lesson I take from the Ramones, like all the punkers in New York and London, the DIY thing that you mentioned in the documentary, and I call my films punk rock cinema. That's what I do
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I do what I can with what I have. I don't say my films are the best. I don't,
Yeah.
nothing like that. I just do what I can with what I have, and I try to do better each time. And that's I learned this all like like you guys from the Ramones and all these people that just get up there and fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean, your films, they look really good, and I've seen quite a few of them, and I've watched that Max's Kansas City one, nightclub one.
Right,
I think
right.
that is where we both actually played CBGBs at
Yeah.
different points in our life.
That's amazing.
So that's good. But it looks really good. But when you came to London and just filmed that interview upstairs in a pub, I thought, well, it's not going to look like any of those. But when you sent me the rushes, like it was like it looked great. I don't quite know how you did it.
Well,
It just
I,
looked
I have a I
very
have a
simple.
kick-ass camera, dude.
Yeah,
That
really.
look that look. We shot a movie with it, and I was watching through a monitor. I was like, oh my god, this looks like a blockbuster film, dude. And
Wow.
I asked the cameraman, what is this camera? Give me the model. And I went to China this year, and I bought exactly that camera, like the newest
Wow.
generation, and the same lens and everything. And it really looks good, man.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, it does.
it looks amazing.
Of course, you got
And
the
it's like a two-man operation. It's just me and Nick going
yeah.
around.
I was going to
Nick
say
is
Rick
calling.
Reynolds there with you.
Nick
It is really good.
is
Goes, "Oh,
Nick,
look
Nick
over,
is
look."
calling. Calling all his friends because I always say, "Fuck you, Nick, man. You know everybody. Just grab your agenda and start calling everybody." And it's like, no, I don't want to bother my friends. I'm like, when are you gonna fucking do this? When you're in the grave? Come on,
I know.
now, let's
I'm
do
glad
it.
he called me. But I mean, also, it was great fun being in Soho with you guys. And then I was going to see Joe Corey, and he was like, oh, blimey.
Oh yeah.
I never
See what I
really.
mean? That's exactly the spirit. Hey, Joe Corey lives here. How about I call him up and see if he wants to be interviewed? And the documentary begins with Joe Corey and all that
Yeah, I've
madness.
seen
They
that.
started burning all that shit, and I was like, wow, this is fucking epic, man.
Yeah.
And
It's
and
amazing
that's
that
how
you
it
got it.
and that's how it's happening. Like it's just amazing. Like this synchronicity. We go to see 99. Charlie Harper is there. Nick approaches him. Yeah, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you guys. And he's there for like a minute, but it's really fucking cool. And he talks about
Yeah, yeah.
politics and how governments are all corrupt and whatnot. Like he
Yeah.
touches on different subjects. Like everybody touches on different subjects within the punk thing, and it's really like really interesting, man. Because I've done a lot of documentaries about dead people, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's a bunch of talking heads,
Yeah.
and then photos, and then footage, and photos, and footage, and you know, and this is different because you guys are still around. So I'm following you. There's a here, there's a gig there, there's an interview, blah 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 blah. It's totally different to what I've done. I
Well,
love it.
I mean, well, it used to be people say, oh, you're all for the same thing and all together, but we weren't. Everybody just was doing their own thing, and they
Yeah.
used to go, "Oh, we're going to blow them off," And nowadays, when you see those big punk festivals, if we go there, Charlie's there, everybody's just so glad that everybody's still alive. You sort of
Yeah.
go, "Oh, great," you're still alive, great.
That's
I mean,
in
so
the
that's
film. That you told us that in the interview.
that's right, yeah.
So yeah, 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 and
Oh,
that's in
that's
the
really
film. And I'm really,
I said
because of
that
my
was an
because I'm getting
exclusive.
senile now. I've just repeated myself.
No, but it's true. It's quite amazing that Charlie's like 82 next year or something,
Oh,
Yeah.
it's crazy, isn't it?
and he was so sharp, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he was drinking, and he was super sharp and going
yeah.
on about this and shitting on all the governments, and they're taking the Mickey and on the
Yeah,
people, and it's like, yeah, exactly,
yeah,
and he's like, whoa, man, that guy's like really out there, man. I interviewed him for my Sid and Nancy documentary, and he became like a central part of that documentary because obviously he had all the inside information.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
he can really talk like you. He's very eloquent.
Eloquent Charlie.
Yeah,
He'll be pleased with that.
he will be.
We saw him, well, I saw him at the Wired for Chaos documentary. I don't know if you've seen that one.
That's
Which one?
Harley. What's his name?
Harley Flanagan.
Oh yeah, I've not seen
Yeah.
him.
From the Chromags.
Yeah, yeah.
Harley's in night clubbing and also in Ghost of the Chelsea Hotel, and it's really
Yeah.
great.
Was
I
she
never
actually?
met him personally. I never met him because nightclubbing we did it, in COVID, during COVID, so people were sending me their
Yeah,
interviews.
Yeah.
yeah,
And when he did the interview, I wasn't present. Unfortunately, I shot most of it myself, and that's a really interesting documentary. It's not. It doesn't have. You have been as successful as others so far. It came out
yeah,
this summer. I mean, it's about a fucking building. You know what I mean? It's not about a rock star. You know what I mean? But it's really interesting, and you know, we didn't focus on the most famous people that stayed there. That
yeah,
expect, oh, Patti Smith and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We actually, talk about people who are kind of forgotten and they're really kick ass in the day and didn't, but sort of history has forgotten them. But Harley's there talking about the Sid and Nancy thing for a minute, and it's really really cool, man. Is
Yeah.
that is actually one of my favorite documentaries that I've done. It's probably gonna be
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
So where do
the
people
first
go?
one.
Where should people go to watch your documentaries? How do they find them?
Well, my main distributor is in the United States, so over there it's kind of easy because there's this a lot of platforms that don't exist in Europe, like Tubi, for instance, which is one of my favorite platforms. Is free with commercials, but
Yeah.
they have amazing. Besides having all my films, they have an amazing catalog of old movies like horror and this and that. Amazing, right? And then it's on
Heard of that
Amazon
one.
Prime and on Netflix in the UK and Europe. They surprisingly they picked up the Steve documentary
Yeah.
and the Brian Jones documentary, but that's because Netflix are really into true crime, and
Yeah.
half of the Brian documentary is a true crime documentary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So who or what is Chip Baker then?
It's just a name we came up with, me and my associate, and like when we shot those westerns and stuff, it's directed by Chip Baker, but like it's like
I
whatever.
thought that. I thought that's. I
Oh,
love
are
that.
you Chip Baker?
No, I'm not.
They are. Yeah.
It's not.
Oh,
It's
they
not
are.
me. It's just me and my associate. And
Brilliant.
because if I put my fucking name on everything I do on the credits, my name comes out
Oh,
20
yeah,
fucking
Yeah.
yeah,
times.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
I
like that.
put
Yeah, I thought maybe
produced
I have
by.
that problem.
Chip Baker. No. But I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I took that from this friend of mine who's a like 85-year-old actor, and he used to do movies with Jess Franco. I don't know if you know this Spanish 60s 70s horror director,
Right.
and he would tell me that they would make up names on the
Yeah.
credits just to have to, like they would just make up fucking
Yeah,
names like,
that's a
oh
good idea. Why didn't we think of that?
Well, I mean,
yeah, and I thought that was hilarious, and I thought, wow, that's fucking great, man. So I make up names too.
Yeah.
Like when friends of mine do two different things, I write their name in Spanish, and then I make up another name in English. So I have a different
no,
name.
I love a pseudonym. Me.
Yeah.
It's kind of also the Rolling Stones thing. They had the Glimmer Twins when they produced stuff, and they had.
No, and Nanker Felch,
Yeah.
Nanker Felch. When
Yeah.
they when they all
I
wrote
like
together, it would be written by Nanker/Felch.
that. Yeah.
And Nanka was the name that they put to Brian's faces when he would pull faces and shit, with his nose and whatever. That was pulling a Nanka.
Oh,
So
okay.
so when they wrote songs together, it was Nanka Felch. So you know what I mean? So everybody's done that, I guess. At
Yeah.
some point.
No, but it's great. I like that. I mean, I like a bit of mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's also you get rid of your ego, man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the ego is the enemy. So you
Yeah.
have, you have to be as humble as possible always, and
Yeah.
don't believe the hype. And I don't believe the hype. And when people come, oh, I love your movies, I say, fucking great, man. Thank you so much. But I don't go. I thank them, and I'm really happy that people enjoy them because I enjoy them myself. I'm like Tarantino was saying recently in some interview. I make these movies for myself, and then if people like them, then great. And that's the same for you with the
Like that
music.
with
I'm
songs.
sure
It's
Yeah.
the same.
It
Yeah.
is.
you
I
know
mean, I went.
you,
If you hate a song, you're not going to want to
I did.
perform it as
I
that.
did some bumps on this Edwin Collins album, and he asked me to come down and play bass. And when I got down there, he stuck on all the speakers pictures of Trevor Bolder from the bass player of Spiders from Mars. So you know the picture with so, and I was asking me to play a bit more like more McCartney. So I ended up being credited on the album as Trevor McCarthy. The whole album, you know. And it's like, you know, but then people go, "What about your PPL, man?" And I go, "Well, you know, Trevor McCarthy. I don't get the credit on it, but I'm Trevor McCarthy." And I thought that's great, you know.
Trevor.
That's cool,
But
man.
Trevor,
You see,
Trevor McCarthy.
you got another name now, Trevor.
Yeah,
Oliver Trevor.
when you're in trouble,
yeah.
Trevor's in trouble.
What's your name, son? Trevor McCarthy, Your Honour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oliver
Um,
Trevor.
I like the fact that, you know, you're telling the stories that are untold or would be buried if it was left to the major labels. You know what I mean?
I'm
Very important to
really happy that you
see
dig
the
it. You know
punk
what I mean?
is your
Because I make movies for misfits. You know, I make
perfect.
movie. Like when I go to a premiere in San Francisco or wherever the fuck I go. Well, I used to go to the States. I'm not going now for obvious reasons. I don't
Yeah.
want to get arrested and put in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
just
Shit.
for unknown
you,
reason.
you don't want to get iced.
But when I used to do all these premieres, you know, I used to travel around the States and go to Dallas and Washington and SF and LA, whatever. And you see the queue of people, and they're all fucking misfits, and it's great, you know, that somebody's these
Yeah.
misfits, you know.
Well, that's what you
And I
should.
remember we did the premiere of Looking for Johnny on a Monday night in New York, man, and the queue went around the block.
I
I
bet.
would have loved to see that.
And my associate was like, dude, you know how many Spanish directors would kill for this? And I'm like, don't get excited. This is not about us. This is for Johnny. See what I mean? And that's the truth. Obviously, there's so much love for Johnny Thunders. And actually, Sylvain said one of the most beautiful things to me ever. He said, yeah, you know, you put Johnny on the map again. And I said, shut the fuck up, Sylvain. And, you know, it's not like we weren't best friends or anything, but he was so nice. You could talk to him like I talk to you guys. You know, I
Yeah.
try to talk the same to everybody with this, excuse my French style of mine. And I said, shut the f-. And he said, no, it's true, dude. Nobody was talking about Johnny. And I was like, wow, that's so sweet, man. See what I mean? Again, that's why I'm taking to the grave, man.
Exactly.
So I know you're still in the middle of Viva la Punk, but what's your have you got some things you want to still do and make films you want to make? Obviously you have, but I mean,
Another
Yeah. I write scripts too, and I would love to have somebody give me money to make some of my crazy scripts, but you know, I'm not too hopeful. But I'm also working on another documentary at the same time I'm doing Vive Le Punk, which is a documentary about Sonny Vincent, who's a very unknown character from the CBGB's Max's era,
okay.
who
name is rings a bell.
well, he's featured on nightclubbing. He's like he was doing like almost hardcore in 75,
Yeah.
76. Really fucking hard music, punk, like, but very interesting lyrics and melodies and stuff. And he's got a legion of fans. I mean, not like, you know, the Rolling Stones or Kiss, obviously, but he has actually a fan base. Like we're doing, I just was in Germany in Hamburg last month. He did a comeback. He hadn't played for 10 years because of family issues and stuff, and now he's coming back. So we could shoot this documentary because I said, Sonny, man, you know, if I do this, I want to shoot you today. I don't want, you know, talking heads and pictures and footage, blah, blah, blah. Again, I want you today, and then we can talk about your past and where you come from.
Mm.
What the fuck happened to you so your music is so fucking hardcore? And when you watch it, it's like, started telling me stories, dude. And it's like, whoa, I'm not getting it. I don't want to spoil it and tell you his life story because he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't tell you or tell the press what happened to him. Yeah, he was in jail for 2 years for pot in like 1970, but he was also in Vietnam. See what I'm saying? For a
Wow.
year because of pot, because they put him so many times in juvie that they said no, this time let's fucking put him in the army, and they fucking enlisted him in the Marines, and he ended up in Vietnam for a year, and he was a fucking hippie kid. So obviously all these
Stories
experiences
about that,
fucked
man.
him up so much that his music is so fucking hardcore and hard, you know. And in his guitar band, the strap, he has FTW. And I said, Sonny, what the fuck is FTW? And he said, fuck the world.
Wow.
And I went, whoa, that's the title of the documentary. Sonny Vincent fuck the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and once he starts telling you his life story, you understand, bro. He almost started crying when talking about the Vietnam fucking
Yeah,
adventure.
because
For a
stuff
whole
like
year, 1969, he was a hippie. Suddenly he's sent to Vietnam, and he almost started crying. I was like, whoa! I was so touched, man. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god. Now people will understand why your music is the way it is. And he had such an attitude back then that he would tell everybody to fuck off, you know, like the record labels, filmmakers wanted to include him in their project. He was like, fuck you, man, I don't do this shit. He had the most fucked up attitude, and I told him before I knew about this happened to him. I said, Sony, you know why you didn't make it big? Because you had zero PR skills. If you watch Nightclubbing again, he tells the story of him going to Max's to ask for his tape back. All right. So he goes there and says, yo, I want my tape back. And Laura Dean, the wife of Tommy Dean, goes, what are you talking about? Yeah, I left my tape here. You haven't gotten back to me. I want my fucking tape back right now. Or I'm going to smash a car into the fucking window and I'm going to burn your club. I'm not playing this shit. Oh, fuck you. And then Tommy Dean shows up, the owner, and goes, whoa, what's happening here? And he goes, you know what's happening? I want my fucking tape back. You know, you guys, blah, 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 you're taking the piss, whatever. And they go up to the office, dude ramages through all the fucking tapes. That's reel to reel tapes, by the way.
Yeah.
wow. So
Right. Right. That
Yeah,
tape.
1975, 76, right? So he finds the tape, puts it on, and he goes, wow, this is pretty good, man. You shouldn't be going around. You should have a manager. You can't go around telling people you're gonna burn their fucking venue and whatnot.
yeah,
You see that calendar there, you see those empty dates. Pick a date. You play in Max's Kansas City. And that's how he started playing Maxis before he played CBGB. And
wow.
I was like, oh, Maxis Kansas City, you know, and that's because where he comes from, what happened to him, how they fucked with him, the system, that he became that fucking angry motherfucker, man. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But nowadays he's 73 years old and he's the nicest, you know, because
Chilled out.
he's lived through it all. And I'm really happy to be making this documentary about such an obscure character because he's really fucking good. Like his music really good,
Yeah.
Wow.
actually.
Yeah.
Wicked. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch Nightclubbing again. I know
Yeah.
we've
That's I
seen
want to
it, but
watch
I'm
it.
gonna watch it again.
I got one question for you. When I first met
All
you,
right,
the
shoot.
everybody needs a home.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, we 2 years later. That was an idea. You know, I get like everybody, I get crazy ideas. And I thought, how about we make a single for to get publicity for the homeless, so we
Yeah.
can do something and and publicize the fact that there's a lot of homeless people,
Yeah. Right.
not just in London, everywhere.
yeah.
And there's this Iggy Pop song called Home
Yeah.
from 88, 89, 1990 album Brick by Brick, right? And I thought, how about if that could be a ska tune, instead of a
Yeah.
rock tune, turn it into a ska tune. So 2 years ago we recorded it, and now we're actually finishing the video. 2 fucking years later, because life happens,
Yeah.
whatever. We're
That's a good
another
day as
shit.
well. Dave
But
Barbarossa.
that's a really cool project, and that's how I met
Yeah.
through
So
Nick,
are
obviously.
you gonna? Is that still going? Is it still?
Yeah. It's still going. I'm finishing the video. I'm sending it to this dude in London, another friend of Nick, who's doing the coloring,
Yeah.
and we're doing it through Stromerville, who has this project for single homeless people or something like that. Um, and it's really amazing. Again, that one of the best things I've done in my life. Hopefully it's gonna come to fruition soon, and it will garner some attention, and hopefully it's gonna mean something. We
Let us
have
know.
said some bass. We have uh, Dave Barbarossa from Bow Wow on drums. We have Neil X from 6 Sputnik on guitar, Rob from Alabama 3, Nick from Alabama 3, vocals, harmonica, and then Zoe as well. And
Yeah.
Wizard, the producer, was unreal. And also Pablo Cook
Nice.
on
Yeah.
percussion.
It was great to see Pavlo actually. That I forgot.
And then Bess from Happy Mondays sent us a video of him playing the maracas.
Right.
So we have to insert him in the mix. And then other people, I can't remember exactly their names, sax player from this ska band in London. But anyway, it was really a beautiful thing, man. In one day we put it together. And the money to pay for the studio came from, I had this poster of London Calling, and I went to Paul Simon and he signed it, and we sold it like for $300 on eBay or something. And that paid for the fucking recording.
There you
There you
go.
go.
There
Fantastic.
you go, Mr. Taxman.
Yes, that's you. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Wicked.
was good.
Well, we've done nearly
Amazing.
now, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, I look forward to your launch of Viva La Punk. Were you gonna do a launch? Will you launch it in the USA,
Yes.
then
Yeah.
UK and Europe?
Yeah. Well, basically, first is the UK because it's a UK movie and UK punk, and I owe most of my life to the punk from the UK.
Yeah.
Since I'm a fucking kid, and I fell in love with it, and the Buzzcocks and this and that and the other. So obviously, first is the UK, and hopefully it's gonna be released worldwide. My
Nice.
distributor in the States, he's releases everything worldwide, but it's not that easy to get attention in Australia or Japan sometimes.
No, but there's a lot of people around the world that love punk, as you know, people in India, China, Japan,
Yeah, I
lots of
know,
the
I
Middle
know,
East as well. It's like
I
there's more
know,
misfits in the world now than
I
ever.
know, I
So
know, I know.
They're making an
I mean,
misfits by.
every project and every record you guys make and every project, books, movies, it's got its own legs. It's got legs, so you never know how far it's gonna get. Hopefully, it's gonna
yeah,
get really far. You know?
Well, that's really
yeah.
inspiring,
Well,
Dan. And I mean,
best of luck with your film.
great interview.
Thank you, thank you so much.
Very good at interviews, but it was brilliant.
Yeah,
So,
love
Thank you.
interviewing
yeah.
you.
Thank you so much for for your attention and for having me on your show and everything, man. A pleasure.
Lovely, man. But keep
Come
sending-
back, yeah, come back when it's to launch,
Yeah.
so we can help get the word out.
Yeah. I'm almost finished, so I want it out by summer. I'm telling you, by summer
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
50 years since 76.
Yeah.
Not in 50 years' time.
Yeah. Not in 50 years of editing.
Exactly.
All right, man. Love you.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon.
All right, people. Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure. See you soon.